Okay, so at this point, from the last video, we did a corporation search, and we found a couple names. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just real quick, just refresh there. I'm going to go to Florida Corporation Search. There we go, Florida Corporation Search. I'm going to search that abortion clinic again. It's called North Florida Women's Services. And I'm just going to show you what we found. Got two names. Usually, like I said, the registered agent doesn't necessarily have to work there, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look that up just to make sure. So let's just do a Google search on Shannon Rosier, Tallahassee, and see what comes up. Okay, so as you can see, I clicked on this already. It looks like there's a Rosier and Company business, and let's check it out real quick. Yeah, it's a public accountant business. So looks like Shannon Rosier she does accounting services for Tallahassee, and they offer payroll services, tax preparation, and more. So, okay, so this is clear that what she's done is she's done the paperwork for this abortion clinic through her business called Rosier and Company. So we are going to, of course, call her to repent for that. We're going to actually include her and her business in the spreadsheet, but under the position category, it should be somewhere over here. I think it's after the, yeah, here it is. Where is it? Anyways, there should be, oh, here it is. Great. Position. We're going to put registered agent or payroll, or something like that shows, okay, she's not necessarily the owner, she doesn't necessarily work there, she doesn't kill children directly, but she definitely knows what she's doing. She is helping them operate, and so she is definitely part of the abortion industry. So we are going to call her and her business to get out of that industry, get out of the abortion baby killing business. So let's go back. So I found out my information on the first name. I'm going to record that, just make sure I don't forget anything here, leave a paper trail, I guess, for myself. And anyone who knows what I've been doing in Tallahassee knows that Stephen Duncan is the abortionist, but I'm going to pretend at this point I have no idea. So I've got Stephen Duncan. He's an authorized person. It looks like he's a manager of the abortion clinic. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to do Stephen Duncan, Tallahassee, and see if anything useful comes up. Okay, look what we got here. We got Stephen Duncan, Dr. Stephen Duncan, MD. Alright. Oh, look at that. He's a gynecologist. That is a big alarm, in my brain going off right now, because I'm going, okay, he's put this guy named Stephen Duncan. Oh, actually, Stephen Duncan W. That's his middle name, W. And look, Stephen W. Duncan. We've got the right guy here. It looks like, at least. So it looks like he's a gynecologist. He may be the abortionist. So, but I don't want to jump to conclusions here. So what I'm going to do, and this is the point of this video, is to show you how to do a medical license search. So let's open up a new tab. Let's do Florida. You just put in your state. Florida medical license search. It's a free service. I'm going to click on, usually the first one that comes up, and it's some kind of page that looks something like this. And I've got the last name, and I've got the first name. Stephen Duncan. And usually that's all I need. It's find provider. Okay, so it's got two results here. One is a registered nurse, and it's Stephen Timothy Duncan. And then we've got Stephen Wiley Duncan, who's an MD. Well, we know it's Stephen W., so it's going to be that one. We're going to click right here on the license, the only clickable thing on there. And it opens up his own medical license. I don't know how it is in other states, but I know in Florida they give you a lot of information on here. So let's see. It looks like he's had a complaint against him, some discipline. That's not what we're going to be focusing on on our website, because I don't know, we don't want to make a big deal of, oh, this is like a bad abortionist. this is like a really bad abortionist because they're all bad. We want people to understand that even the good, so-called good abortionists need to be called to repent. So we're not going to really be focusing a whole lot on that. But I'm going to see what else I can get off of this license. So I've got an address of record here. Don't assume that this is his home address because it's probably not. No one puts their home address on like a medical license, so let's look that up. 2056. Okay, Centerpoint Lane, Tallahassee. I'll just do that. See what this place comes up with. Okay, so it looks like it's his. It looks like it's his business, his side business, his gynecology practice. Okay, so I'd put that in the spreadsheet as well under other business. Looks like he has a gynecology practice on the side. He doesn't have that listed as his primary location on his medical license. That should also say something about what he thinks about it. He sees himself primarily as a gynecologist, not as an abortionist. Let's look at secondary locations right here. Any of these tabs will be helpful. There we go. Here we go, 1345 Cross Creek Circle. If you remember, that is the address of the abortion clinic. That is a direct connection right there. It's not always going to be that easy to find that direct connection, but we just found it. So he definitely does work at this clinic, and it seems like he's the abortionist there because he's an MD. MDs are the ones, you have to be an MD or a DO to do abortions. So it looks like this is our guy. Let's look at practitioner profile. This gives some more information. Stephen Wiley Duncan. So now I've got his full name. That's the same address. Looks like he has staff privileges at Capital Regional Medical Center in Tallahassee. And it shows me where he went to school, or, where he's licensed in other places, I should say. Here we go. This will tell me where he went to school, education and training. He went to St. George's University. All this stuff. A lot of good information. Let's just go through these real quick. Academic appointments. Doesn't show anything. Specialty. Yep, so he's a gynecologist. Financial responsibility. Not really important. This will show you all of his discipline stuff, these proceedings and actions tab. Once it loads. There we go. You can look at all that. It might be helpful to go through and look at the court documents and just see, but optional information, this is where I found some stuff. So right here, professional web page, he put his email address. So I added that to the spreadsheet, StephenDuncanMD@yahoo.com. In fact, I've exchanged emails with him before, like we've had back and forths from that email address, so I know it's one that he uses. So just from that, I've gotten some really good information. I've figured out who the abortionist is, the medical doctor, the manager of this abortion clinic. I figured out his email address. I figured out his other business, where they're located. There's a lot more I can do from here. And so let's pause right there. But something I want to talk about real quick is also the way in which you find the abortionist. That is actually one of the biggest obstacles. So, like, sure, it's important to know what to do once you have a name. Like Stephen Duncan was on the entity search, but it won't always be that way. You won't always have something that blatant. Sometimes it'll just be the registered agent, like we saw in the Texas search. I'll pull that back up again. Let's do, Texas corporation search. And we looked up Whole Women's Health, so I'm going to do that again. And I'll just show you that it doesn't always show the physician. It doesn't always show the doctor. But we do have Amy Hagstrom Miller. We can look her up and see what we can find from her. She might just be someone who like another public accountant. She might just be a pro-abortion advocate, something like that. But actually, more often than not, if you find a local pro-life group that goes out to the abortion clinic, you will probably find someone who knows the name of the abortionist. Honestly, there are different ways they find out, but basically, if you have no idea, what the name is, if you have no starting point, you just go find out who goes to the abortion clinic, find out who's active in the pro-life movement in that area, and usually they'll have some kind of information for you. For instance, I found all this information on Stephen Duncan just to find out months later that the local CPC owners already knew who he was. I had no idea. They're not making that information public or exposing him, but they just knew personally, and they might be able to tell you. So Michael Playstead actually told me, I don't know how he found out, but he was somehow able to find out the name of the physician at this Whole Women's Care in Fort Worth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to also do a Texas medical license search, and I'm going to look them up and see what I can find. Okay, look up a license. Here we go. I accept. Okay. So it's gonna be Kraus, and his first name is Vernon. So Vernon Kraus, and let's search that. Okay, that was easy enough. Looks like we've got a physician here, so probably is our guy, especially if we have someone from the clinic telling us that that's his name. He's got an active medical license. He's not, retired or anything like that. And it shows some of his stuff. It's a little bit different layout. Any state every state has a different layout of their medical licenses. So let's see, current primary practice address, PPGT. I have no idea what that means, but I'll look that up and see what I can find with that. I would do, and let's see what else. Okay, wow, look at that. He's got hospital limiting privileges at a Methodist hospital. That might be something to note and to contact that hospital. And yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like he has any kind of email address on here or anything. Has less information than the Florida license, it looks like, but still, I mean, this is a good way to figure out, okay, is this our guy, So let's see real quick if I can find anything on here about gynecology. More often than not, here we go. More often than not, these abortionists are, gynecologists. So we find that his name matches, and he's a physician, he's an MD, and he's a gynecologist. So that looks like our guy. So hopefully this was helpful in helping you guys figure out how to do a medical license search and different kinds of information you can find from that. Next video I'm going to go into what more we can do with this information.